Now, if you've been a fan of Power since the very beginning, then you probably always wondered who Breeze is. Many people have speculated in the series of Raising Kanan who it could be. They have always, they have theories on who Breeze could potentially be. But for those who don't know, Breeze was actually the person who taught Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan the drug game and sort of took them in and taught them the game from a very early age. So, who is Breeze? Many of you may be surprised by this, but Breeze has actually been in our faces this entire time. I am 100% certain that this person that I'm about to show you is Breeze. Uncle Marvin. So let me dive into the reason why I believe Uncle Marvin is Breeze, the character that we've been thinking about this entire time, the character that has been in our heads this entire time. I am 100% certain that Uncle Marvin is actually Breeze, and I'm going to give you an explanation as to why I believe that. Starting off from the first couple of episodes, I immediately noticed something that was different about Marvin compared to Lulu. I feel like Lulu was sort of more dependent on Rock and listening to what she had to say and just sort of relying on his sister to doing certain things. Now, if you notice, and you notice very carefully the actions that Uncle Marvin has, he sort of tends to do things behind his sister's back, and I feel like this has to do with him sort of wanting to do his own thing. And I feel like the producers have been establishing this from the very beginning, because if you really pay attention to it, it makes perfect sense as to why Uncle Marvin would be Breeze, especially with the conversation that Raquel had with him in the episode where she confronted him in the finale, I believe it was, and she told him that she didn't want to see his face anymore. That right there, I feel like that was the start of something that we're going to actually get to see in the second season. I feel like in the second season, I stated this in the predictions in my video where I predicted what was going to happen in the second season. I feel like Uncle Marvin, he might try to make it seem like he's on his sister's side, but I feel like low-key he's actually going to be building his own empire in the process of sort of trying to rebuild his relationship with his sister. And I feel like eventually he's going to be the person who's going to become Breeze, because if you actually pay attention, he actually almost got Kanan killed. That was the first thing that his sister had a problem with, and obviously Marvin didn't really think about anything. He continued to have him, work with him and collaborate with him, and it eventually led to the point where Raquel actually felt like there was no other option but to let go of her brother and tell him to his face that she doesn't want anything to do with him. And it makes perfect sense to me, and I feel like the reason is because she's noticing the fact that he is sort of doing things on his own. And usually when somebody on power, especially on power, does things on their own, that pretty much means that they're actually working towards something in silence, and that they have a motive to do something for themselves. Now, many people have speculated that other characters are Breeze. I'm 100% certain that Raquel's boyfriend isn't Breeze, or that he has no other connections. I mean, he could have known some people from the streets, but I feel like it would just be a boring sort of build up for that character, or someone like Unique to be Breeze. Like, just think about it. Like, just actually think about it. I don't feel like Uncle Lulu is Breeze either. Like, I don't feel like he's actually going to take on that role. I feel like he actually wants to move on from that life. If you actually paid attention to the finale of the last season, he actually explains to Raquel that he wants to move on from that life, and he wants to sort of, just leave that life behind. I feel like it would make no sense for him to be the person who takes on this huge role to become Breeze. Like, if it's someone other than Uncle Marvin, I feel like it would be the most, and not to disrespect the producers, I feel like it would be stupid to sort of have someone else become Breeze. Like, actually think about it. having some random person in the second season come in and all of a sudden become Breeze, I feel like there will be no significance behind that. Having someone having been there from the very start sort of take over would make more sense and it would make the show more interesting. I don't really feel like I would be too intrigued in watching some random person all of a sudden pop up out of nowhere. Raquel hasn't mentioned anyone else having competition with her in the area that she's in Southside Jamaica, Queens, other than Unique. So it would make it zero sense for all of a sudden for there to be a character, some random character, to sort of become Breeze. I feel like it's someone that we've already seen, and I am certain, 100% certain, that this person is Uncle Marvin. Plus, on top of that, on top of all of the things that Uncle Marvin has done, when you really pay some thought to it, him and Raquel are of the same blood. He might be making some mistakes now, but we all know that in the world of power, people usually learn from their mistakes and they sort of try to, rise above the expectations of the people around them. And I feel like that's what makes the show more, interesting. We don't really know who is who until a certain point in the series. And I feel like him being Raquel's brother, it makes perfect sense. Now, also, if you look back at the original series of Power, you can already feel the tension between Ghost and Kanan the second that Kanan comes back out of prison for a reason. Kanan felt some type of way towards Ghost, and he wanted to kill him for a reason, not just because he was set up and put into prison. I feel like it was because Ghost murdered his uncle, and he wanted payback. That's why he was so comfortable with taking Tariq in and sort of teaching him the game behind Ghost's back. Because if you ever wondered while you were watching the original TV show and you ever asked yourself, why is it that Kanan is doing all of these things behind Ghost's back, I feel like this was the real reason behind that. Like, actually think about it, pay some thought to it. And I feel like Kanan himself wouldn't be comfortable around some stranger, some random person, rather than his own family. And if you've noticed, he was really comfortable with being around Uncle Marvin most of the time, compared to anybody else. We didn't really see him with Uncle Lulu like that. He was usually with Marvin. And man, just think about it. And I feel like another clue is the fact that Coney Kemp sent Kanan to Jukebox immediately after he had the conversation with Ghost and there was a fire. Kanan immediately went to Jukebox. Who's the father of Jukebox? Uncle Marvin. And just look at the way Uncle Marvin treated his own daughter. He nearly killed her. And on top of that, if you remember correctly, when Kanan was back with Jukebox in the original series, there is no mention of Jukebox's father, despite the relationship between them having been there already, and Kanan basically reuniting with his cousin. Now once that they bring up Uncle Marvin, and I think it was because Uncle Marvin transitioned into Breeze, and he was getting known in Southside Jamaica, Queens as Breeze. Just go back to that particular episode and you'll see for yourself. There's not one mention of Jukebox's father at all, which is completely suspicious considering the fact that they're pretty much family, and not once that they bring him up or bring his name up. I think Coney Kemp did this on purpose. Breeze was already pretty much established in the original series of Power. He was already getting, they were already mentioning the name Breeze to multiple other characters. Ghost had brought it up several times. So I just find it completely suspicious how they, being family, they never once brought up Uncle Marvin or named him Uncle Marvin. I feel like, again, this further proves that Uncle Marvin eventually becomes Breeze. And one other thing that I feel further proves the fact that Uncle Marvin is Breeze is the fact that Jukebox was so comfortable with being willing to kill Tariq right in front of Ghost. I feel like she knew exactly who Ghost was and what he did to her father. And based on the original series, we all know that it was Ghost who killed Breeze. He admitted it himself. He confessed to himself in the final episode to Tariq. I feel like this pretty much explains why she was so comfortable having Tariq at gunpoint right in front of him. I feel like in the first season we saw the start of a character that we've been thinking about this entire time. We saw the birth of Breeze himself in that first season. Just take a look back at all of the episodes. Study all of the episodes. Study the way that Uncle Marvin acts when Raquel is not around. He clearly is the type of person who has his own agendas. And I'm 100% certain that he is Breeze. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you guys personally believe that is Uncle Marvin? Leave your theories, comments, and thoughts down below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.